Hey there, welcome back to another review, this time of the 1988 anime Akira. Now, this is a two-disc special edition DVD that was sent to me without the case by Jonathan Lindsay a while ago, and this was actually a request that he had for my request marathon, because it's not request month anymore, it's a request marathon. I'm going to be marathoning all these requests until the list is finished, and every now and then I might review some other random sort of movies and stuff like that during this request marathon so I don't get burned out. Because I don't want to do that. Because I've gotten a lot of really nice, wonderful requests from you guys and gals. So, and I know there's a few of you, out there. So, I want to make sure that I give 100% for each and every request and each and every movie review that you want to see. The film Akira, I have sort of an interesting, not really an interesting backstory, but I have a backstory with this film. This was the first anime that I ever saw, and I only checked it out because a friend of mine in high school was a fan of anime, and I didn't really know why, and I was like, what's this whole anime thing? And he was like, check out Akira. And so I went to my local library and I checked out the film on VHS and I watched it one night, and I thought the visuals were cool, and there were things about it that I liked, but it didn't blow me away or anything. It didn't make me want to check out more anime. It didn't leave that much of an impression on me. I do remember liking it though. I just didn't fall in love with it immediately or anything. It didn't really go out and try to watch more anime. The only time I really saw more anime is stuff like Bio Booster Armor Guyver, because I was a fan of the Guyver live action films. So, other than that, I really didn't watch a lot of anime. But recently, I've been getting more into it some more. I wasn't a big fan of Ghost in the Shell. I didn't like the sequel either, but I liked the live action film with Scarlett Johansson, and I'm one of the few people actually like it, like that movie. But that's not one of the main reasons why I've been getting into it more lately. The main reason I've been getting into anime more lately, and I was going to review this film anyway, uh, sometime soon, at least definitely sometime next year, along with a bunch of other anime that Jonathan has graciously sent me in the mail. But I decided to do it earlier because I saw an anime film in my film studies class at WC Vancouver called Paprika. And I really liked that. I thought it was visually interesting. I thought the story was intriguing, and it was actually a pretty cool film. So I was really intrigued on seeing more anime that could be like that or similar to that. And Akira is considered to be one of the most iconic and well-known anime films. And so I checked out the film for the first time in years. Recently, I saw two versions of it, two different dubs of the film. I saw the Japanese dub and I saw the streamlined dub. The streamlined dub is the one that I grew up with. I didn't necessarily grow up with, but it's the one that I saw first and the one that I remember. I tried to get into the Pioneer dub, but then I was like kind of burned out on Akira because I'd already watched it twice. So maybe I will check out that dub some other time. But I honestly liked the film. I didn't love it. I did not love Akira. I didn't think it was like the greatest movie ever. And I really honestly, and Paprika had its moments too where I wasn't like super into it. Anime is something that I'm kind of just diving in right now. It's like I'm on a diving board and I'm just jumping into this pool of anime, and it's kind of overwhelming. So maybe with time I will really learn to appreciate and enjoy and really love anime more. I mean, there's certain things about Akira that I absolutely adore. I adore the visuals. This film is visually stunning, features some of the most admirable animation I could think of. It's an amazing anime in that regard. I just felt there were some things here and there that held it back from being a film that I would consider to be one of my all-time favorite movies or just entertainment in general. But I still feel that this is definitely one of the better animes that I've seen, and I would have to say that it does live up to the hype in a lot of ways. Um, it's a film that I definitely do feel deserves a lot of the high praise that it does get. Now, Akira came out in 1988 and apparently it cost like 1.1 billion yen, which sounds like a crazy amount of money, but 1.1 billion yen is not the same as 1.1 billion dollars in USD. Like at first I saw that number and I was like 1.1 billion? Like this movie cost $1 billion? What? The visuals are great, but I didn't know they cost that much. There's no way this movie would have been able to make a profit if that's the case. No, no, 1.1 billion yen. Okay. But it didn't even make back its budget in Japan. It apparently cost 1.1 billion yen and it made 750 million yen in the Japanese box office and then 49 million worldwide. So maybe that would end up offsetting it. Maybe DVD and Blu-ray and VHS sales and so on. I just think it's kind of crazy. 1.1 billion anything is a crazy amount of money. Whether it's yen or not, I mean, it just seems like that's a lot. It's definitely on the screen, uh, for sure. It was distributed by Toho, who you might know for releasing a lot of the Godzilla films. It's directed by Katsuhiro Otomo, who is the same guy who is responsible for the creation of the manga that this film is based on. And that's something unique. A lot of the time you have a anime adaptation or just an adaptation of any story, period. The person who wrote the story is usually not the one who comes in and does the film. Akira is one of those exceptions. Katsuhiro also helped write the screenplay along with Izo Hashimoto. And forgive me for butchering these Japanese names. I don't know how to pronounce them properly. I'm just winging it. Now, there are multiple different versions of this film in terms of the dub. You have the Japanese dub, which is the original dub that was released in theaters in Japan in 1988. You have the streamlined dub, which was done in 1989 with English voice actors. And then you have the Pioneer dub, which was done in 2001 with other English actors. Now, which version is better all depends on one's personal taste. I would have to say out of the two that I have listened to and experienced recently, I would give this a nod to the streamlined dub, mainly because I think it has a nice charm to it that I felt was missing from the Japanese dub and the English dub for Pioneer. From what I had listened to, because I didn't finish watching the Pioneer dub. Like I actually watched a little bit of it, but I wasn't into it, so I kind of stopped watching it. But from what I heard, there were some things that were good, but I didn't like how certain words and certain lines were rearranged, and I don't know. It didn't really do it for me. But there was a lot of people who love the Pioneer dub and they think it's the best dub, the best English dub. But I just, like I said, I didn't feel it had the same charm or personality as the Streamline dub does. When it comes to the dub with the best acting, it's unquestionably the Japanese dub, the original dub. If you want to see the film and hear the best acting that you possibly can, check out the Japanese dub. But the reason why I'm not super keen on the Japanese dub is because I don't speak Japanese. So, in order to understand anything, I have to have the subtitles on the screen. And with a film like Akira, which has such amazing and awe-inspiring visuals, you want to see every bit of the screen as you possibly can. You don't want any of it to be clouded or blocked or any of that. And when you watch the Japanese cut, the Japanese, not, it's not really Japanese cut, when you watch the Japanese dub, you have the subtitles and they cover up half of the bottom of the screen. So the film loses some impact and it's less immersive when you watch it because you're focused more on the subtitles than you are with the rest of the movie. And this is a very visual film, so it really does deaden the impact of Akira if you're just reading the subtitles, and you can still see the visuals and everything, but it doesn't really have the same impact, at least not for me anyway. The English streamlined dub, the charm is a big reason why I like it, and I prefer it the most out of the three that I've heard. But probably the biggest reason is you have Cam Clark, Leonardo from the '80s Ninja Turtles cartoon. He voices Kaneda, and I liked his voiceover. I thought it was a fun performance, and so that puts it over the top for me when it comes to the different dubs. But I would say just watch the different dubs and see which one you like the most. I would say if you want to get the best acting, check out the Japanese dub. If you're curious to hear Leonardo voicing some other character in an anime, then check out the streamlined dub. If you're a fan of the anime Trigun, then check out the Pioneer dub because a lot of the same actors, voice actors from Trigun, end up doing the voices for that particular dub of the film. It's interesting how different dubs have different sort of ways that they get the story across. I would say the Japanese dub makes a little bit more sense than the streamlined dub does, but it doesn't, I don't have as much fun with it because I don't think that's the point. But it's just I just kind of it's I like having fun with sometimes with the dubs, and the streamlined dub is entertaining even when it has some really bad voice acting. It's still entertaining. So the bad voice acting is actually so bad it's good at times. Where when you have the Pioneer dub, from what I've heard, it's just the bad voice acting is just forgettable and bland. So there's no forgettable and bland voice acting in the streamlined dub. Like it's either good, decent, or remarkably terrible. That is the streamlined dub for you. Now, the film has multiple different actors who are responsible for bringing to life the characters and the multiple different dubs of the film. The Japanese dub has Mitsuo Iwata, who plays Kaneda in the Japanese dub. Nozomu Sasaki plays Tetsuo in the Japanese dub. Mami Koyama plays Kai in the Japanese dub. Taro Ishida plays Colonel Shikishima in the Japanese dub, and you have a few other actors and actresses who play different voice roles. I'm just going, through the first four, like the main characters, and because I don't want to take forever just reading through a list of the different voice actors. In the streamlined dub, you have Cam Clark, who voices Kaneda. You have Jan Robson, who voices Tetsuo. Laura Cody voices Kai. Tony Pope voices the Colonel. Louis Arquette voices the Doctor, Dr. Onishi. And in the Pioneer dub, Johnny Yong Bosch, the Black Power Ranger himself from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, he plays Kaneda, so he voices Kaneda. You have Joshua Seth, who voices Tetsuo. Wendy Lee voices Kai. Jameson Price voices Shikishima. Simon Prescott voices Dr. Onishi. Now, with the Japanese voice dub, like I said earlier, the acting is at its finest. It is at its peak with the Japanese dub. Mitsuo Iwata is great. It's Kaneda. Uh, Nozomu Sasaki, his Tetsuo is easily the best Tetsuo that I've heard. And all the other voice actors, for the most part, are really good. There's a few other voice actors that are just there, but I would say this is definitely the best in terms of the performances And also the Japanese dub also has like the best sound, period. Out of all of these different edits and not really edits, but all these different dubs of Akira, the Japanese dub definitely does have the best surround sound and things like that. So it is definitely worth checking out for that alone. The streamlined dub, you have Cam Clark, who I have a lot of fun with as Kaneda. Jan Rabson, I thought, did a good job too. Laura Cody was there. Tony Pope, though, was absolutely atrocious as Colonel Shikishima. He sounded like an Inspector Gadget villain, but it was the type of atrocious that was memorable and kind of fun, despite how bad it was. It was bad, but it wasn't like so bad that I'm like, I can't listen to this. I can't stand it. Like there was a certain personality that he had with this character that did make me chuckle at times. I thought Louis Arquette, I thought was really good as Dr. Onishi. And with the Pioneer dub, from what I heard, Johnny Young Bosch is fine. Joshua Seth, I wasn't a fan of. Wendy Lee was good as Kai. Jameson Price was better than Tony Pope, but didn't have the same kind of personality, so it was just kind of there. Simon Prescott was okay as the Doctor. So, but yeah, it's an interesting film to talk about when it comes to all these different dubs, because a lot of the time when you're talking about a movie, you're reviewing a film, you're not reviewing like multiple different dubs of a movie. You're just reviewing the movie, and it is pretty interesting how the plot can kind of change and how the story can come across differently when you watch the film with different dubs. That being said, though, the streamlined dub does leave out some stuff and makes it kind of hard to follow at times. The Japanese dub kind of is easier to follow in that regard. But regardless, with both of them, when the movie was over, I was just shaking my head, wondering what the hell I just watched. But that's in a good way. Okay, I like to call Akira a WTF film. Akira is one of those films that when it's over, you're just left wondering what the fuck you just watched. You're like, what the fuck was that? But like in a good way, in an endearing way, in a positive way. This film has a lot of WTF visuals that are really impressive, and it's a movie that I definitely do recommend to people. Even if you're not like the biggest fan of anime or you're just starting to get into it, I would say Akira is definitely one of the films that you should definitely check out. I mean, it's a good stepping stone. It's a good start to get into anime. I'm just starting to get into anime, and I liked Akira. I liked what I saw. Um, like I said earlier, I didn't love it, but I still liked the film. The film also features a score by Shoji Yamashiro. I thought the score was quite good. I thought it fit the film really well. It's definitely got this Japanese cultural vibe to it, and then that's appropriate. At times, it kind of sounds like an older kind of feudal Japan type of score, and I thought it did fit the film quite well, and added to the atmosphere and the mood of the movie. It's not super memorable, but it's still a solid score. It's still a good score. The cinematography by Katsuji Masawa. I mean, it's an animated film, but the cinematography in this is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, this is a movie that you look at the cinematography in this is every bit as good as anything that would be done in live action. And if not, and sometimes in some ways it's even grander and even more amazing than anything you would see in live action, because animation has a certain flow to it, and so there's certain things you can do with animation that you can't do with a live action film, and you can't do with a film camera. So the lack of limitations enables the cinematography to really shine, and the same applies to Kachiro's uh, Katsuhiro, I mean, I'm probably saying it's not, like I said, I apologize for butchering his name. Otomo's direction. The cinematography and the direction are really great together. They blend together in a really satisfying mix, and this is absolutely one of the most impressive looking animes I've seen. Paprika is right up there too in terms of visuals, but Akira, there's just so many shots in this that just left my jaw dropped wide open. And if anything else, Akira is a film that really does show how anime, as its own genre, has a special way that it connects to an audience that is uniquely its own. The way that it's able to show these visuals and the way these visuals are able to come to life is in a way that is unquestionably unique to anime. And it's something that is definitely really appreciative. I mean, I really appreciate it. I mean, I'm having a hard time kind of coming with some words to describe the animation in this because it's so awesome, it's so spectacular that it does leave you speechless. It leaves you with almost no words to describe what you were witnessing. The film also features some excellent editing by Takeshi Sayama. The film is about 2 hours and 5 minutes, or 2 hours and 4 minutes, depending on what source you look at. And it does have moments where it slows down a little bit, but for the most part, it's fairly fast paced. I would have liked it to have been a little bit faster paced, but once it starts going, once it starts really getting its wheels spinning, it goes by at a really, really quick, lightning fast pace, and is a really thrilling and exciting film to watch. The direction by Otomo, when he's directing sequences with chases with the motorcycles and any sort of action sequence or sequence where things are happening, it's all full of verve and vitality and energy. And this isn't static animation. This isn't like Speed Racer, where it's just like somebody just is sitting there still. It's like a still photo that just barely moves. Not even in the slightest. There's a lot of fluid, really impressive movement with the animation and with the direction in the film. Now, there are a lot of things about Akira that I really like. The animation, the visuals, the direction, the score. Uh, but I personally felt the script was a little bit muddled. And I'm not saying that in terms of, I'm trying to be fair to the film because it probably makes a lot of sense and it makes perfect sense. Maybe it's a film that I just need to watch more for me to really get it, to really grasp what it's trying to do. But I just felt there were moments that it had a little bit too much dialogue that kind of hurt the pacing. And I felt in the middle it started to sag, especially. It started to sag a little bit. And I felt that there were some things that could have been cut out, and I felt that it would have improved the film in terms of how the story progressed and how the story made more sense, and definitely improved the film's pacing. For the most part, like I said, it's a fairly well paced film, but there are moments where it starts to drag a little bit. But once it picks up and it stays at a high speed until the end credits. It's just one of those things where this is just my personal opinion. This is just one person's subjective opinion on it, and I felt the script could have been a little bit more cohesive, a little bit more coherent, especially the story. Some of the characters felt like they were kind of extraneous. I didn't really need them to be there. I didn't really feel like they were really necessary to the plot. And I felt that if the script was better, then the film would be better in terms of its pacing and so on. I also felt like like I said, some of the voice acting and the English dub is pretty bad. The espers, they sound like adults just acting like kids, and it's pretty cringe-inducing at times. But it's the kind of so bad that it's kind of good. Um, it just adds to the whole surreal weirdness of this film, which this film is full of, just chock full of just extremely surreal visuals, which is one of the big selling points for this film. I mean, the teddy bear, the Tetsuo at the end when he turns into what is essentially a giant tumor or amoeba or something. The visuals, when they're meant to be horrific and violent, they're horrific and violent. It doesn't hold back, and I definitely do appreciate that. I mean, that's something that I think is definitely worthy of note. The film, this is like R-rated anime. Like this is not PG-13. This is pretty bloody and violent on more than one occasion. Um, Trying to think of other things I didn't like about it. Mainly the thing. That's really about it. I thought the script could have been better. The story could have been a bit better, and felt that it could have been a little bit faster paced, but and maybe have a little bit more action. But when the action is there with the motorcycle chases and stuff like that, that's a lot of fun. I love the look of Neo Tokyo. I also love the look of the tech and things like that, especially the bike that Akira drives. Like that's every bit as iconic of a bike to me as the light cycle from Tron. Like it's a really cool, memorable motor vehicle in a movie. And it's something that I know I'm not alone on that, because that's pretty heavy in the marketing for the film for a reason, because it's a really iconic, cool looking bike. And but yeah, it's one of those films where after it's over, you're just left. You're kind of like, what was that? I liked it. I liked what I saw, but what the fuck was that? And that's kind of how I feel about the film. Like I said, it's a WTF movie, but in the best kind of way. And I really don't know what else to say about Akira. I don't really want to give away that much in terms of the plot, because I do recommend the film. Like I said earlier, I do recommend this. If you're curious about it, if you've heard good things about it but haven't checked it out, definitely check it out sometime. It's worth at least one watch. It's a movie you haven't seen in a while. Give it another watch. And after watching this, I do not see how Hollywood is going to make a live action film based on Akira. I don't see it. I don't know how they're going to pull this off. It seems like it would be an impossible task to me. They would have to cut out so much. They'd have to do so much of the story to make it accessible to all audiences. They'd have to really change things so much that it wouldn't even really be Akira anymore. And I don't really think that it's worth it. Ghost in the Shell, I felt, was a story that's pretty straightforward, despite the pretentious lines of dialogue and so on. You could adapt that fairly well, and I felt that the 2017 film, I thought it did a better job recapturing the spirit of the anime than a lot of people said it did. But that's just my personal opinion. You can agree to disagree. But with Akira, I just don't see it. I don't see how. I don't see how in blue hell they're going to be able to adapt this properly. If they ever do decide to do a live action version of this, and I know Hollywood's thinking about doing it for a while, it's been kind of stuck in development hell for years. I gotta wish them luck, because this is going to be extremely difficult. I think this is a story that only really works in anime and in manga. I don't think this is a story that's going to really work in live action. It's a story that's kind of weird and out there and kind of hard to follow anyway in anime. I don't know how you're going to make it a paint by numbers, or at least just a cohesive and understandable plot for a feature film. And live action, I just don't see it happening. Are there certain shots and certain visuals that would be really cool to see in live action? Absolutely. Seeing Neo Tokyo on the big screen in live action would be pretty fucking sweet. Seeing those bikes in action driving around, that'd be awesome. And I kind of already did. There was a fan film that some guy made that was actually pretty cool, but that was a fan film, and he didn't have to make it based on the entire plot of Akira. So it's one of those things where if you're gonna do it, I think you'd have to come up with your own story and just make it as make it a film that's in the world of Akira, but not the same story because it has the same characters and some of the same elements from the anime. But I don't think you're gonna be able to follow the exact template and adapt that on film. I just don't think that's gonna be possible. But yeah, I wanted to mention that because it's something that has been in the works for a while and it just keeps getting stuck in development hell. And after watching the film, I can see why. Some of the moments in this are going to be extremely expensive to recreate on film too. So and I don't think it'd be as effective. Like the what where Tetsuo uh mutates at the end, are you going to do in CGI? That would probably look like shit. So yeah, it's one of those things. I honestly don't want them to make it. I hope it stays in development hell. I really do. But anyway, I got nothing else to say except thanks for watching my review of Akira. And as always, I will see you guys later. See ya.